ex-TSM members, both Zipnix along with Cage and B, back out over towards Monster. And Zipnix unfortunately getting hit pretty heavily by that, already down at 30 HP on his remark, so he's going to have to be very, very careful with himself for the rest of this round now. And they're only going to keep Dreamer there from E-frag, though, after that little bit of a battle happens. The rest of these guys, mainly on the short A push, but it looks like they are going to be moving some players down into Connector. That unfortunately gets spotted by a stack on the B site, so again, some good investigation coming out here from the members of ex-TSM, and unfortunately, the overall engagement probably not going to be that sleuthy because of all the info that the members of ex-TSM are finding out and are appropriately rotating to counter this one out. But with 37 seconds left on the clock, they're going to start the fake take back down over here at the B site. Keep in mind that this flank that's coming on the actual takedown onto A there, and the members of ex-TSM are actually holding off pretty strong. Dupree, though, making the mistake. He actually goes down Connector to support that B site hold by trying to flank down, but that's not even where the play is happening. It's gone up to the A site where you only have Kerrigan to hold this off right now. The plant's already happened. Bubble is going to throw Kerrigan off a little bit. He's going to be down at 74 HP, and as he rolls out, there's going to be Victor decking these players to the ground. He picks up 2. Bubble found 2 for himself as well. Now it's just down on Dupree at this point. He's working a 1 versus 5. Nothing he's going to be able to do in this matchup now. Gotta run away, and unfortunately, even that's not going to be possible. Dreamer is going to shut him down, and E-frag are going to pick up the pistol round. Back over here on Overpass for the first map of the day. That's a great pickup there. We can immediately see 4 rifle upgrades coming into play for these players. And as for Bubble, he's going to go for the Mac 10 and try and stack up a little bit of extra cash. He's usually the player that picks up the op here for E-frag, but interestingly enough, when we were watching E-frag yesterday, they did try to shy away from the op quite a bit, so it would not be super out of the way if we didn't really see the T side try to pick that up, even though it can definitely work pretty capably over here on the T side on a map like this. But for members of ex-TSM, pretty light investment here on the second round, mainly just upgrading to P250s and Deagles. Dupree, the only player that buys up armor. Nothing really else being brought into the picture, so E-frag, again, in a lot of their duels, they're going to have a pretty easy time taking it down unless we can see some clutch Deagle shots coming out. Check exactly what we see first. Dupree finishing off the first shot there, shuts out Victor, eliminating him. And already one member of E-frag goes down early in the round as he picks that one up. For the rest of them, out aggressive. The take, he spots one player, but then immediately has to destack it for safety reasons. But now again, the rest of E-frag slowly starting to creep in, and they're just taking this very slowly on the approach, just in case there is anybody on the off angle. But oh, Dupree almost having another headshot angle lined up, but is going to miss his opportunity for another executing member. Around 63 and 6100. There's a pretty big chance, so it still wouldn't really throw anything off to some degree there. The big problem for E-frag is just going to be, again, the way that they go about their execution. What we saw in that last round, when they played against their opponents yesterday, and just overall from some of the matches that we've seen from E-frag in the past, is one of the biggest issues with this team, in that, again, they try for very dry executions a lot of the time, despite the fact that they may have utility to use. They like to try and save them for the post-plant scenario. So on the actual entry itself, they'll just try to rely on purely the aiming power more to find their way into the site. And oftentimes on a map like Overpass, where you have to go around angles and whatnot to try and find your way into the site, that just does not really work out that well. And unfortunately, the members of TSM, ex-TSM this is, assuming they have the correct setups to try and get into the way of these players, then they're going to be able to shut them down pretty quickly if proper smokes and whatnot aren't used. It's a great example of exactly what happened in the last round. They'd used a smoker or a flash to get them out. That round could have gone the complete other direction, and we could be looking at a 3-0 right now, but that's not the case. They just try to sit back and go into this long-range battle with the members of ex-TSM, and that just gives them more time to set up and eventually just gut them all down one by one to take these guys out of the play. So that knocks them out, and again, now throws the scoreline off here and allows the members of ex-TSM to pick up a round where they really had no business doing it, looking at the buys that they had bringing into that one. The next map, by the way, just to talk a little bit more about this too, is unfortunately 3 rounds in, not a whole lot that we can discuss right now. But the next map is going to be over on Cache. If we end up going over to play on, a third map as well, it's going to be on Train today. So that will be interesting to see how that one plays out. But the big challenge for E-frag is going to be on that Cache map, because playing against Titan on it, they had a lot of problems again on that T side. The CT side was great. One of the good things about E-frag overall is just the momentum they can get and the movement efficiency that they get on their CT side, setting up flanks and whatnot all the time, and really punishing T sides that aren't watching out for these sorts of things. We were able to see the members of E-frag constantly dominate on the CT side because of that one. Their T side is definitely one which I would call weaker on the half side sort of it, so when they switch over to the CT side, we can hope for a stronger one, but here on the T side, it's basically going to be about stacking up as many rounds as possible against the guys on ex-TSM, and then we'll have to see where they go from there. But this is not also our only match that we do have for you guys today. We have another one coming up a little bit later, as this does sort of lead into the qualification. I'm not 100% certain on the format, but I think the way that we're going to have things working out, as you can see now on the screen, E-frag playing ex-TSM today. The winner of that should go on to play off the winner versus our next match, which is going to be between Envious and Dignitas. This is the last chance qualifier, so we should have one more match coming up at some point in the next few days between the winners of both of these games, and then the winner of that, I think, is going to get the final LAN spot here at the LAN finals in Minsk. So, it looks like the members of E-frag are still working on that internet problem with their final player. So we're going to turn up the music here really quickly, and as soon as he has fixed that problem, or assuming they have brought in a fill-in, we will resume the match, guys. So stick around, we'll be right back as soon as we have NKL or someone else for E-frag back into the game. Alright guys, he's back now, so hopefully we should be able to jump right back into this game. NKL will be rejoining, no fill-ins just as of yet from the side of E-frag. So we do have him back, and again, we are going to transition, as we expected, into the first gun round here on round number 4. E-frag are going to be a little bit lighter, of course, because of that round loss they had to suffer, but it's sort of equalized when you take a look at the buys coming out from ex-TSM as well. Have the Galil along with an AK sitting onto these guys. The rest are on M4s and or the op for device. And as for E-frag, we've got AKs and 2 Galils in the mix. So still fairly even. The only exception is going to be that op that is missing from the T side, and device already going to be able to start things off strong here. Looking for that second pickup over by the rock, but not going to be able to find it. So for the time being, he falls away from that area and is going to abandon things to push himself closer to the site, and holding it in case the members of E-frag decide to push up against him here. Taking a look at the rest of the defenses now, it's fairly evenly split. Like we said, no real big amounts of aggression coming out just as of yet from ex-TSM. E-frag, because they've lost a member, are obviously going to be holding back a little bit more to watch out for anything else. They might be tossed their way, but they're not going to be finding it just as of yet. We're probably going to see a little bit of a battle happening just inside of the bathrooms here in a moment, as you've got both Kerrigan and Dupree sitting here to watch this one. Bubble looking for a way out of this one here too as he presses forward, and he's going to lead the charge, but Kerrigan is pressed up a little bit here too, so he could potentially find something if he's not spotted initially. If someone around the corner, and there we go, going to come back out, is able to pick up Dreamer. We see Dupree picking up another kill into NKL too, getting into another battle. We see Bubble winning versus Kerrigan this time around, but Device still holding strong, finishing off the round with a nice off shot there. It gives the first gun round over to the guys on ex-TSM, picking it up and evening out the score at 2-2. And obviously, because of the fact that E-frag did need to invest a little bit more in that previous round, with them recently losing it, they are going to have to transition very quickly here onto a save, which you've already seen come into the picture here. One Tech 9, apologies, and three P250s here for the entire team. Nothing else sitting behind that, so a very lightly invested round from E-frag. Probably going to be a quick play coming out, and this could catch Dupree off guard, as they are just rushing into him right now, but actually they don't expect him to be there at all, and he just rips every single player from the side of E-frag apart, finishing off the 5th as well. That's going to be the casual ace coming out from Dupree, finishing off that entire offensive completely on his own. And E-frag, well, I didn't lie, it was a quick offensive to try and push into short A, but it was also stopped very quickly by Dupree, and that's going to be an easy 5 kills for him, as that gives a 3rd round now to the guys over here on ex-TSM.